everybody. How are you guys doing? Today is Saturday, September. No, it's not. It's Sunday. It's not Saturday. It's Sunday. It's Sunday, September 24th, and I am trying to finish a sock. For all of you guys that are new, hi, hello, welcome to the channel. For my returning viewers and subscribers, hi, welcome back. I hope you guys have had a fantastic week. Let's see, yesterday was the first day of autumn. I'm so happy. It was under 90 degrees in Tampa Bay for the first time, and I actually was able to sit outside and knit for a while, and I actually recorded some footage, and it's going to be a sit and knit with me video, so no talking, just knitting. And some birds came by, the bird feeder and some other stuff, and I got a chance to see what I look like when I knit, and I always look super serious. I was really surprised to notice that. Does that happen to you guys? Has anybody else actually looked at what their facial expression looks like when they're knitting? Not like when you're counting stitches or counting rows, because obviously we all look unfriendly at that time. But when you're just regularly knitting, what do you guys look like? Me? Scary. Like, run in the opposite direction as quickly as you can. You guys can find me on Ravelry as Tiff Loves Yarn. I'll put the little bubble up here. And you can find me on Instagram as Tiffs_inspired life, also right here. And I think that's it. This week we are doing a catch-up video. We have some finished objects. We have some new whips. Some whips that I cast on around the Shiva time, so I'll get to show you guys where I am on those projects. We have 2 bits of incoming goodies and an old project, or should I say an old pattern that I want to do. Not like super old or ancient, just like maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, but I'm excited. All right, so with that said, let's start with the finished objects and the I was really trying finished object. So let's start with the really trying finished object first. All right, so you guys remember I was working on these socks, and they are knit on Chigu 9-inch circulars. It is a mystery yarn, both of them, and I had finished this one and was talking about the fact that I know that the sparkly yarn was not practical, but it was what I needed at the time, so I went with it anyway. And yesterday I worked pretty much the most of the day on my bookshelf sock and realized that I really needed to finish these. So last night I tried, and I got the heel flap and gusset, the whole foot, and most of the toe done. And I knit this one on the 9-inch circulars as well, but when I do my toes, I do them on the I think this is a 32-inch cable, and this is a Knit Picks, I do believe, and it's still the 2.5 millimeter. And I just decrease on 64 stitches, I decrease down to 14 with the alternating rows, and then from 14 to 8, no alternating rows, and then I do the not the Kitchener, but the Finchley bind off to close up those last few stitches. So this is how far I have left before I'll be done. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I'm on 18 stitches. I just finished a decrease row, so I have to do the decrease row on the other side. So hopefully I'll remember that's where I was, and I can finish these. So these are my almost finished object, and I still have so much of this yarn left. This is the Mystery Blue with Stellina, because I only used it for the ribbing and the toes, so I don't know what I'm gonna do with the rest of it. I think I might put it just into the bin of blue yarn, because I'm thinking about making the Sweet Shop blanket, and I just have to look at the pattern to see whether or not you have to hold 2 skeins of or 2 strands of yarn together or not to make those squares. And if you don't, then I think I'm going to make a Sweet Shops blanket, one in shades of blues and one in pinks. You guys can't see, but over in the cart now are all of the pinks and all of the purples and all of the blues and all of the greens are over on the other side of the room, each one in its own little bucket. So yeah, the Let Me Count My Balls video actually helped me to be able to organize and color coordinate all of my colors. And I'll try to remember to insert some footage right about here. Maybe, hopefully I'll remember to show you how I managed to organize them so that they're all in color order real quick. But anyway, that's where I am on these ones. They are almost done. They will be finished today and I'm glad. My next finished object was I finished my Summer Vibes socks. They are finally finished. They're super cute. I highly recommend this pattern if you want something that is engaging but not incredibly stressful and you want a great way to work through some scraps. I think I had just a teeny tiny bit. Let me look. Let me see if I can see them in the mystery basket. Yeah, this is one of them. Yeah, I still have teeny tiny bits. Like this is from the pink. Work with me. Yeah, so I have just a tiny bit left. Enough that honestly, I think I could probably make another pair of these, which I might do because a couple of my daughters were like, oh, I really like those. Can I have a pair? I definitely want to make another pair of these in fall colors though. I thought that that would be really pretty. I really enjoyed the pattern. I will do the pattern insert right here for you because I've already put the pattern away in my pattern book. But I really enjoyed making the Summer Vibes sock. I made them 2 pattern on 9-inch circulars, fingering weight yarn, nothing special, regular heel flap and gusset. I know that when I made mine, and the next pair I think I'll do differently, but like I have a lot of toe because after you do the color work section, then you knit your foot however long you need to before you get to your toe decreases. And for me, it turned out to be 9 rows. So I think next time I might maybe do 4 or 5 more rows because you literally do 2 rows after you finish your gusset. Then you knit 2 rounds and then you pretty much start the motif. So I think next time I might maybe do 4 or 5 at this end so that I only have to do 4 or 5 rows at this end so that I don't end up with quite so much toe action. And I obviously make a wedge toe on all of my socks. I've tried the baseball toe. Yeah, the baseball toe. So Sweet Violet has a pattern where she did the baseball toe. It was the Lola socks from 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. It might have actually been 3 years ago now that I think about it, that they had the Lola socks. It was for the Strictly Just Come Dancing. You know how here in the United States we have Dancing with the Stars. In England they have Strictly Come Dancing, and Strictly is like a big thing there. And there's normally in the British knitting community, they normally do some sort, if they're a sock knitter anyway, they do some sort of sock knit along, and different YouTubers do projects with giveaways and things like that. So anyway, all that to say, So Sweet Violet wrote the pattern for the Lola socks. I'll put a picture of it right here so you guys can see, because I have the pattern and I have the yarn, but I have not made the socks, obviously, because I have the yarn still. But it has a baseball toe, and I actually tried the baseball toe last year on a couple of patterns, but I didn't like the way that it looked. It could have just been the way that I knit them, but I didn't like the way that it looked. So I just stick to the standard wedge toe. Yeah. So anyway, that's a finished object. True blue, they now can go in my sock bucket. And the next one that I finished is I finished Jay's socks. So happy. These are so fun. I just like took some random scrap of glue that I had to do the toes, because I wanted to be able to make the toes so that if they wore out, I could always replace them. That was my thought process behind that. Easy to take out, easy to put back in. But if you guys remember, I had forgot that I had cast on the 72 stitches, and I did my heel flap for 64, and I was worried that the sock wasn't going to fit him, so I made them. I made one, I blocked it, I tried it on, he tried it on, or I tried it on him, and it fit perfectly. He loved it. So I had thankfully written down what I had done, and I just redid it again. Also, something that is different is, if you guys remember in the original video, this sock had 1x1 rib, and I took the 1x1 rib out and picked up, I literally just, this is so bad, but I just cut it. I just cut the knitting right off, right down to like maybe 1 or 2 rows, and then just unraveled and picked up the stitches and knit, and redid the ribbing, and then just did Jenny's stretchy bind off. And really, now that I've stretched it out, I'll just stretch this one out too. You can't tell the difference, really, I don't think, between the Jenny stretchy bind off and the regular cast on of the 2x2 rib. But yeah, so that was the only other thing that I think I've done differently to these socks since the last time you guys saw them, was I changed the ribbing from 1x1 to 2x2. But now these can go to Jay, and since we are going to New York in November, he'll be able to wear these, and his piggies will be nice and toasty. And I think that's it for finished objects. I haven't worked on the Shiva scarf. I did record a video that will be going up later today about some new projects that I've cast on, and why I cast them on, and the inspiration behind that. So I hope that you guys will enjoy that, but that's probably the main reason why I don't have a lot of finished objects this time. I was just really happy to finally be done with those 3 pairs of socks, because I feel like they'd been hanging around forever. I only have 1 pair of forever project, that's how I feel, and that's Mom's red Hermione everyday sock. The leg is finished, they're sitting on my desk right here. I just have to do the heel flap and gusset and then finish the foot. But you know how, like with the last one, I got stuck and suddenly I just wasn't inspired to do that pattern anymore. I'm just not inspired to do the heel right now. So I'm like, well, let me just finish some other stuff first. Yeah, okay. You see how that worked out, right? They're done with all these new cast-ons, but whatever, it's okay. Okay, so the next thing, let me see if this is my pattern piece or not. Oh, this is me keeping track of my heel flap. Okay, so this is, I love these so much. These are my bookshelf socks by Becky Mundy, and I'll put a picture of the pattern right here. Love these socks. And I decided to make these because of Cherie at the Ollie and Bella podcast. She made a pair of these, and hers are in a yarn very similar. And this is the Mrs. Crosby Loves to Play yarn. My cake's kind of falling to pieces, but you get that. Yep. It's coming up brighter on camera today than what it really is. It's a little bit darker than this. Let's see. Yeah, it's a little bit darker than that, but not much. Anyway, I've got it cast on. I've got the leg done. Let me see. Let me pull the circulars out of the sock. There we go. I've got the I've got the leg done, the ribbing done, the leg done, and now I am working on the heel flap. And obviously these are knit on my 9-inch circular, and then my heel flap is just done on my Knit Picks. I think these are my French ones. Let me look. Where's my thing? All right, so you know how Knit Picks does themed needles like every year? 1 year they did French Paris themed. And I have the regular set and I have the DPNs. And I use the DPNs for all of my heel flaps. I like them. I like the metal tips. I like these. I think these ones, these aren't the rosewood ones. The rosewood ones are really nice, but they break really easy. I think I've broken like 3 of them. But yeah, these ones I really like, and I use them for all of my heel flaps and gussets. I've been known to make fingerless mitts on DPNs and to use these as well. But again, it's just the regular 2.5 millimeter. Let's not take our stitches off the needle. Standard slip stitch heel flap. I'm almost done with it. I'm 5, 10, 15, 20, 21. I'm 21 rows in for my heel flap and gusset, so I'm almost to my 32. And then I'll turn my heel and carry on. But how pretty is that design? And it's making like a super squidgy sock. Like, I just want to keep squeezing it. I'm so excited to wear these. I'm so excited to wear these that I've already cast on another pair. Yeah, I have. So, all right, so this is my first work in progress. There we go. And let's stick the needle over there so we don't lose it. And let's keep track of our counter over there. The next one, the yarn is living in my pumpkin. And I got this pumpkin at, I don't know. I think this one was either Joann's or Michael's. I'm thinking it was Joann's. Yeah, I'm thinking it was Joann's. Anyway, so it's supposed to be a planter, I think, but I use mine as a yarn bowl. And I have like 2 or 3 of them. I have one other one right here. But I think that they're just so pretty for the fall. And so this is what my projects, look at that. This is what my projects live in. And I like to try to coordinate them with the yarn, so it just brings that extra bit of woo to the project. So I've cast on another pair of bookshelf socks, and these ones are more fall-y. And I know that this yarn, because I love this dyer, this is Acid Veil Dye Works, and this, no, it's not Acid Veil Dye Works. It's Spun Right Round, and it is called Bugs in a Jar. And again, it's showing up brighter. Oh, there we go. It's a little bit better. Yeah. It's a little bit darker than what it's coming up on camera. It's not this bright. And it's got grays and grays, greens, oranges, and yellows. It makes me think, I know it's called Bugs in a Jar, but it makes me think of fall leaves on concrete, because it's just that shade of gray. Oh, there we go. It's kind of showing up better there. Yeah. So I cast on another pair, and I am using my little, let's see if I can show you, my little squirrel. Of course, he fell off my hand at the last minute. There you go. See him? My little squirrel stitch marker, because you know it's fall and it's time to whip them all out, so I have been. So yeah, so I've cast on another pair right behind those ones, and so I will just switch them out. So in theory, I should have 2 pairs of socks done at the exact same time. And I have an empty needle. In my video that comes out today, I talk about how I found 2 more sock needles and how overjoyed I was. Like, yeah, I was so excited. It doesn't take much to make me happy. Coffee, yarn, and let some sock needles magically appear, and a good book, and I'm set. Yeah, I'm set. So anyway, all that to say, I've cast on another pair of bookshelf socks. So I am hoping to at least have 1 sock in each colorway done by the end of next week. So we'll see. yeah, we'll see. Let's see, what's my next? The next sock is one that you guys have not seen, and I will put a picture of it right here because my printout is not good. My printer ran out of ink when I was printing it. These are called the August Honey Socks, and they have this really cool texture, and I cast these on probably a few days before the Shiva situation. And you do your ribbing, and then you go straight from your ribbing right into your heel flap. You don't knit any extra rows. You know how some patterns are like, because it's a shorty sock. So for some patterns, it's, you know, knit X amount of rows of ribbing, then knit for 2 or 5 or however many, and then start your heel flap. These ones went right into the heel flap, and then you turn your heel, then you pick up your stitches for your gusset, and then you start the honeycomb motif the exact same time that you're doing your gussets, which was new for me. I've never done something where I've had to do more than one thing at a time. It sounds so bad to say that out loud. But there you have it. Yeah, normally I've been like just, you know, flat knitting up at the top, or even with the Hermione's Everyday sock, it's just like a 4-row repeat, so it's super simple. It's not all of this extra stuff, because to make the honeycombs, they're actually a cable. So I'll show you. I am using the spaghetti, I think I need spaghetti. The Biscotti yarns, the best sock. And the colorway is called Caramel, and it is 85% merino, 15% nylon. It's a super wash yarn, and yeah, instructions, it's all in French. Cold water only, dry flat, color may bleed. So yeah, okay, super. Anyway, so I had 2 skeins of that, so I think I might actually make a honeycomb hat. I found a honeycomb pattern. Next video. Yeah, because I already have the pattern. It was free. It was a free knitting pattern. So here's how far I got on my sock. I got the ribbing done. There's the heel flap. And this is what, let me see if I can, there we go. That's what the honeycombs look like. And it's really fun. It hurts my hands a little bit to do them, but it's totally worth it. I'm really, really enjoying the pattern. I had to make myself all kinds of little notes. Look at me go. I wrote notes down this time. Here's my stitch marker. It's a cute little fox. Come on, show your face. Yeah, so it's a cute little stitch marker. And I had to like make myself notes. It says I cast these on August 29th at 9:45 in the morning. And I seriously had to make myself silly notes. Like I even have one that says the fox is the end of the row, so that I would remember that that was the end of the row versus the other 2 stitch markers that I have on here. And you have you have your rows that have your cables, then you have 3 rows that you do regular knitting, and then you have a row of the cables, and then 3 rows of knitting, blah blah blah, and you keep going. The rows that you do your cable on, you just do your cables on, and the rows that you aren't doing your cables on, that's where your gusset decreases happen. So every row you're doing something, either you're making the cable for the honeycomb, or you're doing your gusset decreases. So it's definitely engaging. I'm really enjoying it. It does hurt my hands, but I think part of that is because I was worried about the stitches slipping, so instead of using a needle with a metal tip, I am using my bamboo needles. And I really like them, but I think in conjunction with using the wooden DPN for the cables, it hurts my fingers. But so I can do, how many did I get the first go around? 1, 2, I got 3 honeycomb rounds done the first time, and I can't remember how many repeats it says that you have to do. It says you do the repeat 5 times, and it's 8 rows for the repeat, so 40 rows, and I've done 3, so I have a ways to go. But I'm really enjoying it. It's just a little painful. And this project is living in this little pumpkin, which is the other one that I was telling you guys that I have. And I have one more, but I don't know where it is. It's somewhere with a project in it would be my guess. And those are all of the socks that I have as current works in progress. The next thing I want to show you guys, I am so proud of, is my Wool and Honey by Andrea Mowry. It's finally cast on the needles. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I'm so glad that I had the idea to just switch out the yarn and to use a different yarn to do the ribbing on the shirt or sweater, in a hopes that that would be enough to give me all of the yarn that I need for the actual length of the body and length of the arms of the sweater. So I cast it on, let me see if I wrote down the day that I cast it on. I don't think so. I think I cast it on in Ravelry. If I did cast it on in my Ravelry, then I'll do the little Ravelry printout right here for you guys. And for the yarn, I am using a mystery fingering weight yarn that I don't know what this one is, but this is the one that I decided to use for the ribbing for the collar, the cuffs, and the hem. And this was the Hobby Lobby. It's wrapped up in my tape measure. Check out my chicken tape measure. I have a whole bunch of these. My daughter used to work at Cracker Barrel, and every time they got a new one, she would buy me one. So I've got roosters and chickens and squirrels and foxes, and somewhere around here I have a cardinal. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, the other yarn is the Hobby Lobby hand dyed, and this one was called Copper Kettle, and it was one that they had a couple of years ago, and I knew that I wanted to make the Wool and Honey with it when it came out, but I didn't cast it on, and now the yarn doesn't exist anymore, which is why I had to improvise and pick something else to use to do the ribbing in. But I got it cast on. I did the ribbing. Oh, hold on. Yeah, there we go. All right, so this is where we are. I've done the ribbing, I've done the short row shaping for the back, and we've actually started the hexies. Let me see if I can show you. They are, I can only show you on one side because there's a bit of a situation. Okay, these ones are done correctly. That's right, there's a mistake. But it's not my fault. So this is how far we've gotten with the hexies. I've just started them. I am on round 6, and it's really cool how they're done. There's lots of double and triple wrapping involved, and then you drop the stitches, and then you pick them up, and you make them twisted. So it's really, really cool, and I'm really enjoying it. But you see how how they look right here. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to tell, but you see how right here it looks like a nice solid V, but over here it's not. This is where the mistake is. And so I have to fix this as I go. Because in the pattern, she tells you to slip, but she doesn't, the written instructions anyway. She says purl 2, slip 2, purl 4, repeat, blah, blah, blah. But she doesn't tell you whether or not to slip 2 with yarn in back or with yarn in front. It just says slip 2. And so I did it the first round, which I think was round 2. And then on round 3, I'm like, I think something's wrong because it didn't tell me whether to slip it with yarn in front or back. And so I reread it again a couple of times thinking maybe I'm just a dummy and I didn't read it right. And it really doesn't say that. So on a whim, I was like, well, I know how to read a chart. I just prefer not to. So I went and I looked at the chart, and in the chart, on the key, one of the symbols is for SLWYIB, slip with yarn in back. And so I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be slipped with it in the back. So then I was like, okay, well then does that mean that I have to unknit those 3 rows and start all over again? Because I really don't want to. It's like 114 stitches. I don't want to. And I just got it on the big 14-inch cable. I don't want to. So then I got out my cable needle, and I figured that what I could do was just purl until I got to those stitches, and when I got to those 2 stitches, slip them and put them where they, just slip them and pull them through so that they're actually showing where they need to be, and then do the whole switching around thing to create the honeycombs. And so that's why on this side I've got lovely V's and everybody's where they should be, but over here they're not. But that's okay. So that's how far I am on the wool and honey. I'm super loving it, really enjoying the process so far, loving the color. I like the pattern. I'm enjoying it. Let me show you what my stitch marker looks like for this one, because you know it's fall. For this one, it's a little pumpkin. Yep. So that's where I am on my wool and honey. It was one of my 10 sweaters that I want to make this year, and it's cast on. I'm excited. I'm happy. It's cast on. So that is that. Hold on one second. I have to grab the other bag. All right, we have bags. Now we can carry on with life. Put the needles back. Okay, so one of the other sweaters that I wanted to cast on was the Bright Side, and I wanted to be able to use the Arwetta in, a unique shade of red. And if you guys remember, this is what I decided to go with for the Arwetta. And I absolutely love it. It's super soft and squishy. Like I said before, I was just really surprised that it was thinner than it turned out to be. It's really like a lightweight fingering weight yarn, but I'm hoping that it's going to bloom. I have made some progress on this one, but not a whole lot. I'm just doing the body, so it's just round and round and round, and I have to go, the pattern says for 10 inches, but I said that I was going to go for like 11 or 12 and then start the ribbing. Because I kind of went into cast on land. I haven't made it too much farther. I think I've put in like 2 more inches since the last time you guys saw it. But here is where we are so far. And let's see, what stitch marker am I using on this one? It's a pretty red, like a ruby. I figured red yarn, red stitch marker, why not? And I am using size 6 needles, and I used bamboo ones because the yarn was so fine. I was kind of worried about slippage, so I am using I think these are Knitter's Pride. No, it's not Knitter's Pride. I can't remember whose needles they are. It's not Knitter's Pride though. Brain fart. If I remember who's the needle company, I'll put it right here because it's not Chigu and it's not Knitter's Pride, it's the other one. Anyway, so that's how far I've gotten on this one. I really like it. I'm really enjoying it. Trucking along in Bodyland. I'll probably finish the body on this one this week. I am on my second skein of yarn, and this is how much I have left of the second skein. So I figure I'll probably make it through this and then probably half of a third skein to finish the body, and then I will have, excuse me, five more. So no, four. 4 more to do my arms, so I will definitely have some yarn left over. So maybe I will make a pair of socks out of what's left, I think. Yeah. And this project is living in my Craft House Magic project bag. Craft House Magic is a this is a close-up because there's her embroidery. crafthousemagik.co.uk. She is a knitting and sewing podcaster on YouTube, and then she also has like a shop where you can buy her yarn and supplies, and she sews like a lot of her own clothing, and she has a son, so she sews a lot of she's like a baby son. I think Jensen's like 2 now. She sews a lot of his clothes. She knits all of her husband's socks. I will put a link down below for her channel if you want to check it out. It's really, really cute. It's cozy. And I almost always learn something from, her name is Ellie. I almost always learn something from Ellie's podcast, whether it has to do with knitting or sewing, or sometimes she talks about stuff for sustainability, in terms of helping the environment from a crafter's perspective, and I've learned a few things like that. Also, she has something on Ravelry called the Ask Me Anything thread, and you can ask her anything if it has to do with something you're trying to learn how to do with sewing or knitting or crochet or English paper piecing. Oh my gosh, she's like an English paper piecing goddess. She actually was the one that inspired me to give English paper piecing a try, and I have made it as far as 2 hexagons. That's it. I have this really beautiful fall yarn, not fall yarn, fall fabric, but maybe in the next video I'll show you guys the English paper piecing adventure. If I can get another hexie done, we'll see. So anyway, bright side number 1 is living in here. It's done. And then remember the ginormous skein of yarn, the 1,100 yards that I found in my stash. Here was the label. And what I decided that I would do with that is I would cast on another bright side. So I caked it all up. You always have that one piece that wants to stick out. I've caked it up, and this is what it looks like. And in my video today, I talk about the fact that this color it's not gonna do me any justice, guys. Like this is not my color, not even remotely. But I love this sweater, I'm not gonna lie. So I have got it cast on, and I've got the raglans started. That's it. I'm halfway through the raglans. Like, you have to do the raglan increases 8 times, and I am on the last row of the 4th raglan. But how pretty is that? It's actually slightly more aqua than what it's showing up on the camera. And this yarn is slightly thicker, and it has a loose twist. Where's it? Come on. See, it has I don't know if you guys are going to be able to tell, but it has a loose, well, you can kind of see it. Yeah, look by my forehead. and you can see it's got a loose twist. So I think that means that it'll be slightly more bouncy, so it'll bloom a bit more. But I'm still gonna do the same size. I think it was up to 109 stitches for the front and 109 stitches for the back. For the increases, I might actually do one more raglan increase, though I'm thinking possibly to just make it a little bit wider. But yeah, so this is the other one. I'm really enjoying it. So I haven't worked, and it's also on those same needles that I can't remember who they are. Also a size 6. I can't remember whose these are. Let's see. I'm getting old. Anyway, so that is the knot one, and it is living in my purple llama bag. I think the original Bright Side was living in the purple llama bag, and I don't remember where I got this from. I just know that I have a ton of them. And I think that is all of my current works in progress that I have been working on. I have not worked on the Ozetta Seasons cardigan. The video that I am releasing today, I will talk about that and show it to you guys. I have not worked on the caramel apple sock since I did the last video. I just haven't been feeling like working on that design. So yeah, that's that. Okay, I think all that's left is a thought and incoming goodies. Okay, so my first incoming goodies is these squishy guys. And again, they are slightly darker in real life than they're showing up on camera. They are, let me see, this is by the Yarn Collective. This is their Bloomsbury DK Merino wool. And the colorway is number 107. It's called Moss. There's 263 yards in each skein. Washing instructions are handle with care, hand wash in 30 degrees Celsius, cool iron, do not bleach or dry clean. That's all it says. But how pretty are they? And they're a DK weight yarn, and they are going to go for this, the Andrea Mowry Weekender Crew Edition. I am super excited to make this. I have not read the pattern yet, so I'm not quite sure how the construction is. I normally don't read the pattern until after I wind the yarn, and I obviously haven't done that yet. So once I get the yarn wound, then I will sit down and read the pattern and get started on that. I'm hoping that I can have this finished in time to wear it to New York for Thanksgiving, because we're going to be there for a whole week, so I want to wear all of the knits while I'm there. And since this is done on DK weight yarn and size 8 needles, I think it is, I should be able to, this should be a quick knit. Actually, I feel like it's size 8 and size 9, but I'm thinking that this will be a quick knit, and yeah, this color is actually doing something for me, so I'm super excited. So this is incoming goodies number 1, was the Yarn Collective Bloomsbury DK. And if you listen, you guys can hear the cicadas again. They're singing again. So there you go. Sorry. The other incoming goodie is something that was inspired by, again, Marlene Knits. And when she first started recording, she had quite a bit of yarn that was actually on cones. And I was like, oh, I want to try that sometime in the future. That would be really cool. So I was on Etsy and I found somebody, it's called the Cozy Woolly Yarn is the name of the Etsy shop. And they had some super kid mohair on a cone. And they had this green that, of course, is not going to show up in the right hue here. And it was 900 meters, if I remember correctly. It's Italian. It's an Italian mohair. And yep, 900 meters, and the colorway is called Olivia. And it's actually slightly more olive than it's showing up here. And it was not even $50. It was not even $50 with shipping for the two of them. It's an Italian mohair that came to me via Canada. And when I saw it, it made me think of something that I had seen a long time ago that I wanted to knit. In 2018, so we're going way back, Kim Hargraves wrote a bunch of patterns for Rowan. And I have all of the books because I absolutely loved every single thing that was in every single one of them. And what's funny is I was flipping through one of these books this morning, and it's full of textured knits, which now are, for this season, are in. So now I'm like, oh, I want to go back through those books. And since I have them all, but I've never actually knit anything out of any of them, why not? Add that to my never-ending list of things that I want to do. Anyway, so one of the books that she made was called Calm. And how pretty is that, right? So in it, there was this pattern right here, and it's called Waft. And it was made with Rowan's Kid Silk Haze. How beautiful is that? Super delicate and light, and just, it's beautiful. And I really, really, really want to make this. So the camera light's gone all funny now. There we go. So I really want to make this. And so when I found the yarn online, I was like, oh, I can make this then. And she also has, it has a whole sweater, and the sweater is actually reversible, so you can have the V in the front or you can have the V in the back, whichever way. So she has that one in here. Check that out. Look at that. How pretty is that? That is so tailored. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to go back through this book again and, you know, maybe rethink some of my knitting choices. Anyway, so I have the pattern for the Waft, and I thought that I would make it, and it says that for my size I need 7 of the 25-gram balls to make the size medium. So I figured I would do that, and it looks like it's actually a relatively, I won't show you the whole pattern, but it looks like relatively simple construction, very straightforward. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a go, and I figure it'll be like super squishy and fluffy, and you hold the 2 strands together double. So yeah, I'm super excited. So this was my other incoming goodie, was to be able to make something that I wanted to make for ages and not spend an arm and 10 legs to make. Let me see. There is one other thing. That's it. I went through my Hobbit closet downstairs and went through my yarn and found a whole bunch more to give to my aunt and to donate to a local yarn shop that they do knitting classes. And so of course they always need yarn and needles for people that want to learn to knit, that don't necessarily have, you know, the resources to do so. They can go to this particular store and learn how to knit. So anyway, while I was in the closet in the way back, I found this yarn, and it's Ghazal Knitting Club, and it's their Nordic lace, and there's 125 yards, and it's 48% acrylic, 31% polyamide, 21% wool, and that's what the label looks like. And this is a hot mess going on down here. I don't even know what's going on down there. This is what the yarn looks like. It's a tube yarn, right? And it's in like this really pretty blue color. And I remembered that the forest sweater said to use the forest sweater. I'll put a picture up here in case you guys don't remember what it looks like. It's the one with the forest trees knit into it, and it's all one color. It was knit with 2 strands of, I think it was Drops Al, no, not Drops, was it Drops Alpaca? I can't remember. I think it was Drops Alpaca, and they said you could knit it with fingering weight yarn, but be prepared for it to be a really heavy sweater. But it said that you could also knit it with a tube yarn. So I figured I would sit down and do the math and see if I have enough of this to make the sweater. I think I got this at Hobbii or Hobium, one of the two. So I can always look on their website to see if they have any more. This is one that I bought during the pandemic, and it's not itchy. It's definitely going to make a warm sweater. I know that much. But before I went to buy yarn, I was like, well, let me see if I have enough of this, or if they still make this, if I can get however many balls of it is that I'm missing, and then I can just, you know, do helical knitting to rotate between the two back and forth, if the dye lots are drastically different. But I don't know. This one might not be doing anything for me either. But I can knit from stash and I can get the sweater that I want. So really that's my focus. So yeah. So this was my something that I found in the Hobbit closet, and I'm gonna give it a try. And it's kind of cool because it's not really like a solid, I don't know if you guys are gonna be able, oh, you can. See, it does like kind of like this tonal thing as well. So depending on how the light hits it, and I'm guessing that that must be like a feature of the tube yarn because it is like pretty see-through. Anyway, so I just wanted to share with you that I think that I have a yarn to use to make a sweater so that I don't have to buy anything and I can use something from stash. It won't be the same color, and I did want to do it in that foresty green, but it's still a winter color, so I don't think that it will matter. Oh wait, I have another one. So I have 2, 4, 6, 7. Okay, that's all of them. Yeah, so that's that. So that is my thought process, and if I have enough yarn to do this, or if I only need like 1 or 2 balls, then I can cast on the forest sweater, which means I will have cast on 3 of the 10 sweaters that were on my sweaters that I want to make this autumn list. And there'll be 7 to go, but I think it's kind of ambitious to think that I'll get through all 10 because I've already added 1 by adding the Andrea Mallory's Crew sweater and adding the Kim Hargraves cardigan to my list of things that I want to make. Needless to say, I'll be warm and toasty all winter. I have started looking at my Halloween stuff. I've pulled out my Halloween projects. I have my book that I'm going to read for this Halloween. I am going to read Long Live the Pumpkin Queen. It is by somebody Earnshaw. It's sitting up there. It is a story of Sally after she married Jack Skellington, and I bought it last year for me and all of the girls to read. So I actually have already started it so that by Halloween all of us will have read it, and then we can donate it to charity. So I pulled out my Halloween knitting already because October 1st I want to be able to start to knit Halloweeny stuff, so I will have that to show you guys all in the next video. There is one pattern that I want to buy for Halloween. It is for this one right here. It's a $5 pattern, and it's to make these cute little pouches, and they're Halloween themed, and they're just super cute. And I have no idea what I would do with the little pouches afterwards, but I am thinking that they would be really cute once I see how to make the motif, I could do like fingerless mitts for the girls to be able to wear next October if they wanted them. Or maybe I could repeat it and make a cowl. That would be cool. Yeah. Rabbit hole. Here I come. Anyway, so yeah, that's the other thing that I want to knit for this Halloween, but that's it. Socks and this right here. That's it. Right here. I do not have a cross stitch cast on, or started, I should say, for Halloween this year. So I will show you guys the one that I finished last year instead in the Halloween video. And I think that's it. That's everything. It was a lot. I know. I'm sorry. It's like 56 minutes later, but I had a lot to share. So with that said, I hope that you, as usual, feel inspired to cast on something new, or to work your way through some of your forever projects like I have done. And let me know in the comments below, what are you guys currently working on? What are you feeling inspired to do? What new YouTubers are you watching right now? I'm always looking for new ones that I can watch or listen to in the evenings when I'm knitting. And I think, oh, the other thing that I wanted to say was that for my Audible right now, I am still listening to the complete works of William Shakespeare, the complete works of Sherlock Holmes. That is what I am currently listening to. Am I listening? I feel like I'm listening to something else too. Oh, I'm listening to The Haunting of H.G. Wells also, but that's something that I started and then stopped, and then I've restarted it again, and they re-recorded it with a different narrator, and I like that one better, but I'm still not absolutely loving it. So I'll tell you in the next video if I made any progress on that one. But there were 70 hours of the complete works of Sherlock Holmes, and I have 36 hours left. So I'm making progress. I'm up to the part where the stories are now starting to introduce like Sherlock's brother, for example, which was pretty cool to me to come across that as well. Like I didn't know he had a brother, and I forgot his name. His name starts with an M, and it was really cool. And I was like, ooh, that's an awesome name. But completely opposite of Sherlock. I can't remember what it is. I'll put it right here, what Sherlock's brother's name was, because I thought it was cool. Anyway, with that said, again, I hope you enjoyed your video. You feel inspired to start something new. Please share with us what you guys are working on down below. And if you liked this video, please like, subscribe, comment, share my videos with everybody else that you know that is also a knitter if you think that they would enjoy as well. A little bit of a knitting bookish ramble. And with that, I will tell you guys to have an amazing week, and I will see you, or you will see me, in the next video. All right, have a great week, everybody. Bye. If you guys made it this far, I thought you might like to see, what does my office look like after I'm done recording? This is what's going on after. That's normally where my phone sits. Halloween stuff. Mom's sock. I told you guys that I would insert some footage also to show you what it looked like, how I had separated the yarn. Pinks, purples. Work computer. Here are the greens. Here are the blues. And that's currently how I'm feeling about that Ozetta cardigan. Anyway, I just thought I would share with you guys. Oh, and look, Walter has made a guest appearance. He's sitting where I normally sit. Say hi, Walter. Bye, everyone.